Before we continue our journey through the Gulf of Corinth, we thought we'd share with you a conversation we had with fellow sailor Bruce Rose. Bruce is a Kiwi turned Aussie who hails from Tasmania, and as it happens, he's currently in the Canary Islands, about to start his trip across the Atlantic. Let's see what he has to say to us. Last time on Sailing She's Apples, we had a look around Trisonia and Galaxidi in the Gulf of Corinth. This episode we thought we'd introduce you to Bruce Rose, cruiser extraordinaire, who's about to depart from the Canary Islands for the Caribbean. Bon voyage, Bruce. Oh, hang on, I'll start with everybody. This is Bruce Rose.
G'day.
G'day, yeah. Bruce is a Kiwi turned Aussie who lives in Hobart in Australia, in a state called Tasmania, not Tasmania, like I once heard a CNN guy say. And Bruce is into boats. He's got a Beneteau 46, and prior to that he used to sail dinghies.
Paper tigers, which I still do, little catamarans.
He still does.
Yeah.
So, Bruce, over to you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm 57.
It's a good age.
Yeah, it's a good age. Sailed pretty well all my life. I started sailing at about 7. I was pushed off ashore at a lake on a little P class it's called, which is a 7-foot sailing dinghy, a New Zealand class. Right. And as they did back then, on the boat by myself, and just pushed off and...
Learned to sail, kid?
Well, I didn't actually. I instantly capsized.
Of course.
in some weed.
Right.
And ended up upside down, clinging to the centreboard, screaming for help, terrified. And
right.
In fact, it's a wonder I ever went sailing again after
right.
that. But that was an uncle who introduced his kids to sailing, and then that overflowed with us.
Yeah.
And
do they still sail?
Yeah. Well, actually, sadly, there's 4 sons.
Yeah.
And 2 of the sons have passed away. One in a sailing tragedy, which was after a Sydney to Hobart.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they, I think it was 5 Kiwis on board this boat called Smackwater Jack. In 1981 it was.
Right. Is that the one where they had the really bad weather? Well, it was after that, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was 95.
The Sydney Hobart where
that was 95. Yeah.
95.
Yeah. So no, this was 81. The Sydney to Hobart they'd done the Sydney to Hobart.
Yeah. And
they were having I think it was like an informal race back to New Zealand, a group of boats, and then they were lost without a trace.
Gee.
They never found anything.
Yeah.
But they all sailed, and they raced cherubs, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'd represented, not all of them, but a couple of them had represented Australia, New Zealand,
right.
in Australia,
yeah.
And they went on to sail trailer sailors and then keel boats. And my uncle, up until he died, he was 83 and still was racing 3 times a week, which was awesome. Yeah. So, and whenever I'd chat to them, that aunt and uncle, the chats with Uncle Eric were always sailing related.
Of course.
Yeah. He just loved his sailing, which I do also.
Yeah.
And mostly the racing.
Yeah.
I just love, pretty passionate about the racing.
Yeah.
And then I've done a little bit on keel boats, but not a lot. A few, Hamilton Island race weeks.
Okay.
One on a Beneteau 46 in 95. In 1995, it was a brand new...
I was up in Hamilton Island about that time.
95?
Thereabouts.
Really?
A year or two either way.
Okay.
And I do remember a Beneteau 46 there, or 45.
Okay. Oh, there would have been...
Well, it probably would have been several, yeah.
Yeah.
Some guy from the Cruising Yacht Club of Sydney, what was that?
Yeah, no, Dave spoke was a Melbourne...
Yendies, which was Sydney spelt backward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this was a lovely... seemed like well, it was a beautiful boat at the time.
Yeah.
And then the last couple of years I've done it with a mate on his 25-foot Nolex trailer sailor.
Right.
And then I've done a little bit of keel boat, sailing the uncle's boat, for example, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And then last year I had this idea of selling my house to try and dump the debt.
Right.
And so I was looking at various options, where I would live if I sold my house. Yeah. So I had a place, when you watch, if you do watch those videos, you'll see the stories there. I had a house, 60 metres away from the beach. Right. Like an awesome spot. Yeah. And I'd contemplated selling from time to time, but I knew that I'd never get back there again. Yeah. So it was a difficult decision, but I had my mortgage still. And I had this real estate agent that would bring people to me from time to time. It would supposedly then offer me an amazing deal that would be the only reason I'd leave. Yeah. It'd have to be maybe 10 years of capital gains in advance. Yeah. To kind of get me out of there. Yeah. And they never eventuated. But this I watched a video which was. Probably Le Vagabond. Yeah. Which I'd forgotten I'd seen, and then I just came up with this idea at this particular time of maybe buying a boat, selling up and buying a boat, and I didn't know where the idea came from, and then a mate of mine said, "Oh, you've got to watch this video," and he gave me the name of Vagabond. Look it up. Yeah. And it was the first episode, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, I've actually seen that before.
So, folks, I really should explain here. Bruce is referring to a YouTube video featuring an Aussie couple named Riley and Elena, who have a YouTube channel called Sailing La Vagabond. As luck would have it, and this is what prompted me to get on with this video, Bruce bumped into Riley and Elena in the Canaries just recently. They were preparing to cross the Atlantic also, so Bruce scored a photo of the three of them in the local supermarket. Is it a small world or what? Well, I guess if you're crossing the pond, the Canaries are the obvious stepping off point. So maybe not that much of a coincidence. I expect it happens all the time to Riley and Elena. They have about 350,000 subscribers, so they must be recognised anywhere there are boats. Anyway, back to the talk.
So I'm guessing maybe that's where the idea had come from, maybe 6 months earlier. Yeah. And so I started investigating doing that, and within a couple of months, a few months, I'd sold the house, found a boat, or decided on a boat to buy. So I went from a 40-footer to this one in terms of the searching, and then I decided that if I was to buy a boat, this is what I wanted, and then from there it was just a short time between that and waking up one morning. My exact thoughts actually when I got out of bed was, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And then I'd sold the house in 4 days. Right. And privately as well. Wow. Brilliant. And then put a deposit on this boat and came over and bought it.
You bought it new?
No. This is 09.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, I couldn't afford a new one.
Yeah. Well, who can?
Yeah. You're talking, I don't know, a new one of these, I'm guessing maybe $500,000. Yeah.
You saw the price of the new ML55. The Delos boys were looking at nearly 1.2 million euros.
Is it really? Yeah. And so theirs is a 53, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was a 53. Yeah. That look. I only saw a snippet of that video where they were doing the tour. Yeah. And it looks like a magnificent boat. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, this is pretty good. But when you get into that level of boat, you're talking
they cost a lot.
Yeah, but and a completely different type of boat. They're built for true blue water. When you think of the stuff that they've been through on their boat.
Yeah. Well, my attitude to this one, it's a nice boat, but I do think it's built for a market. It's a 36-footer,
Yeah.
and it's built to be tied stern to some little wharf
in
Italy or...
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon you could do ocean passages with...
you could
year's
do
that?
them. It's 2002?
Yeah, okay, same as Keith's, I think. Yeah, his might be an 03 but it's the same boat. But
Yeah.
I think these were built more solidly than the newer ones in terms of thickness of glass and thousands of these things, production boats have crossed oceans. I think they get an unfair rap. When I was first looking at some of the criticisms of production boats almost put me off doing it at all.
Yeah.
Made me a little bit nervous. But then I came across, the other side of the argument, and the fact that, if you look at the Ark, for example, really, probably a bigger percentage of those boats are production boats that cross with the Ark successfully. It's if you're asking them to do true southern or northern waters, maybe it's different.
60 and 80-foot waves don't appeal.
Why would you be out in that anyway? So
have to be a little bit mad.
You'd have to be a little bit mad. I mean, the Dallas guys,
a little bit mad.
They're a little bit mad.
Yeah.
And I don't think they intend to be in those kind of conditions, but they've struck some pretty wild conditions at times.
Yeah.
50 knots.
Yeah. We look at 25 knots and think, no. It's nice here in this little harbour.
Yeah.
But it's true, we're here to have fun. So
So you would have been here during that little storm a few weeks back?
No, we were a few weeks back. We've been slowly making our way across the Aegean, and we went to from Santorini. We did a couple of islands to the north of that. Then we met up with some friends in Poros. Sort of south of Athens, about an hour by ferry. And from there we went around the bottom of the Peloponnese, and we stayed in Monastrell for about a week because the wind just wouldn't go away.
Okay.
Which is fun, you want wind to sail, but as soon as it's gone away and it's safe to move, there's no wind. So you finish up motoring. And then around in Pylos, on the other side of the Peloponnese, we stayed there for about a week. And once again motored on to Zakynthos. And, but there are a couple of...
I didn't get to go to Zakynthos.
Yeah, it's a nice spot, nice
island. Yeah, it looks,
And so we enjoyed our stay there.
Recently, but...
had any real serious trouble with the toilet at all?
No, touch wood. Yeah. But I've been here by myself.
Yeah. I think sooner or later you do have trouble.
It gets
this caking of...
well, there's that, but also it's the operation of them as well.
Yeah.
So a mate of mine, well, I call him a mate now because but met him during this. He's got a 50 version of this.
Yeah.
When he's on the boat by himself or with somebody that he's instructed on how to use it, and they do, never a problem.
Yeah.
But as soon as he gets people on there that he gives them a quick rundown, and then they obviously don't use it. How they should. Then he has a problem every time.
Yeah. We got ours in February last year, and it had been sitting there, I think, for at least 3 or 4 months in the marina here, and I think he'd left some stuff in the toilet in the holding tank.
Okay.
And we paid a price for that.
Okay.
And really, we're still paying, because the hose, this plastic hose, was full of this build-up. Yeah. And the only way to get it out was to take the whole hose out and bang it with a hammer, which is great, and that worked. I got rid of all the scale.
Just so you got holes in it.
They've got holes in it. So I've got another bit of hose, which I want to do maybe today. And hopefully that will work and solve the problem forever. But we've replaced the pump.
Because it'll take a long time for it to clog up, wouldn't it, I'm assuming?
It takes a couple of years.
But
you've got to feed it vinegar and stuff to stop the build-up and that sort of thing.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
And I've used acid in it. And really it didn't properly clear up till earlier this year. I had several pipes off and cleaned them as well as I could. We replaced the Y valve in there, and we also just recently replaced the pump.
Okay.
And it was that time that I started bashing the hose to get the grunge out of the pump.
Uh-huh.
The pump works fine,
Yeah.
but now we've got holes in the pipe.
Yeah.
So, fun and games.
Yeah.
Marine toilets.
Yes, I've heard. You know, so far I haven't.
It will happen eventually.
Apparently. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to it.
No. Keep a bucket handy.
Yes. Somebody told me you have a rule on your boat, which you introduce people to, and that is if you block it, you unblock it.
That would cure it.
Mm.
Yeah. We have like the Greek toilets, the pipes aren't big enough. So there's always a little bin next to the toilet, which is fine. And we have the same rule on the boat.
Oh, do you?
It's got to go through your body first, or it doesn't go down there.
Okay.
So if it's number 1 or number 2,
the
that's
only thing
fine.
is, the only thing
But
is
not paper. And especially not those wet wipes.
Wow, that'd be absolute. Well, and I think that's what happens is the women get their bloody sanitary stuff down there, and you know.
You're going to be pointing that camera at me.
Would I point a camera at you?
Yes, you would.
No?
What?
Oh, it's a fake video.
Hello. A fake one.
Yeah, it's not really recording.
Are you going to put me on episode 7 now?
If you're lucky. Oh, rubbish. Look at this pair, would ya?